Hi, everybody. I'm Brittany Lewis, a breaking news reporter here at Forbes. Joining me now is Senator Mark Warner. Senator, thank you so much for joining me.
Brittany, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
I appreciate your time today. It's an important conversation. Since September, the United States military has struck multiple vessels in the Pacific and Caribbean. More than 50 people have died from these strikes. And the Trump administration has said that these strikes are part of their campaign against drug trafficking and that those aboard the vessels are narco-terrorists. You serve as the vice chairman of the Senate Intel Committee. So to start off the conversation, what do you make of these strikes as well as the White House's justification for them?
Well, Brittany, let me set two prefaces. One, obviously, I think everyone realizes the drug traffickers have grown much too powerful, not just in Mexico, but across the region. A lot of this emanating from Colombia. On top of that, and I'm sure we'll get to the questions about Venezuela in a moment, the Venezuelan government, Maduro down there, the president, is a bad guy, and frankly, the United States made a huge mistake a few years back when the Venezuelan people came out in record numbers and voted against Maduro. We didn't put enough pressure on him to move aside at that point when the power of the people had been exercised in a vote. Now, to the Trump administration's actions, they made this determination in July that they were going to take these actions. They did not share with Congress as appropriate any of the underlying legal reasoning. You can't just arbitrarily say on your own, okay, we're going to start blowing up boats in international waters without potentially putting our soldiers in harm's way in terms of international law. So strike one was they put a legal opinion together in July that authorized these strikes. They did not share it with us in the Senate, at least, until last week. And before they shared it in the normal bipartisan way, the Trump administration invited Republicans only, in a gross violation of any kind of not just protocol. This isn't even protocol or procedure. This is like, if you're going to put Americans in harm's way, you got to do this in a bipartisan way. You have an obligation as a president. You're not a king. And they violated all of those protocols and procedures. Now, in terms of the specifics, I have read now their legal opinion. And on a good news note, and this is breaking news, we finally got the administration to relent and let every senator read this. So there'll be more people that can offer an opinion. I've still got questions about some of the jumps in the legal reasoning, but the administration has said repeatedly to us, don't worry, we've got eyes on, and as a former chair and now vice chair of the Intelligence Committee, we have very good ability to observe the bad guys. But if these are all truly bad guys and they are all moving drugs and they've got total certainty on that, why the hell not interdict these boats, arrest these people, and show the world that this is all a legitimate exercise? They have chosen not to do that. I've got a lot of questions of why, and that's going to be kind of some of the next steps we take.
That is breaking news that now all senators have been given this information. From what you've seen, and I know that you
Brittany,
can't divulge.
let me just make clear. I want to make sure, because this gets kind of this is the legal reasoning the administration has put together out of the Office of Legal Counsel in the White House about why American forces can use force to interdict boats in international waters that are carrying drugs, and specifically cocaine. No conversation about fentanyl, no conversation about Venezuela. So I just want to make clear to your viewers, yes, this is a step forward on part of this issue, and I think senators in both parties raise concerns, and they'll have questions about whether the legal reasoning is sound, but that's a good step. That does not answer anything about a Venezuela question, or does not answer, because the administration sometimes conflates this and says we need to go after fentanyl, and obviously fentanyl has killed tens of thousands of Americans, but nobody is making the accusation that these boats are carrying fentanyl. the administration themselves says it's virtually all cocaine.
So then to that point, based on what you've seen, and I know that you cannot divulge classified information,
Yes, ma'am.
are these strikes legal?
You know, I've got real questions. The whole question around war powers is something that's been debated a long time. A lot of this, we've seen ourselves Iraq, Afghanistan, other strikes. I'd like to hear, frankly, from my colleagues on both sides. I mean, there is an argument to be made. I would love to have people who are greater experts than me on the war powers justification read that opinion as well and weigh in. But again, just the idea that this decision was reached in late July and it was late October, to my knowledge, before they shared this with anyone in Congress, is not a good way to kind of earn bipartisan support, or for that matter, support from the American people that this is justified. And again, we all start with the premise that we got to go use all the tools we can to go after drug traffickers. But this ought to be a fulsome debate whether this is the best way to stop the drug trafficking coming particularly from Colombia and Ecuador.